Unlike other JRPGs, Suikoden has a lot of playable characters. Of course, not all of them are going to be good. So, I'm going to make a Suikoden party member tier list. There are 3 tiers. To decide which character belongs in which tier, each character will be judged by their stats and rune at level mid-50s. Several characters have similar stats, and their sprites are just reskins in some cases. So, for these characters, I will compare them with each other for the tier. Usually, at level mid-50s, most characters will have a stat they're good at around 130 or more. So, I will use it as a basis for whether a character stat is good or not. Let's start with the main character, which no doubt belongs in the top tier. All of his stats are good, and his rune is the best in the game. Victor is one of the most important characters in the story. He often becomes a mandatory party member. During the early game, Victor has enormous HP, although his HP growth will slow down at mid-game. His attack and defense are also high. However, his low skill causes his attacks to frequently miss. Still, he's pretty good even until the end game, so in the top tier he goes. Next is Gremio. Despite being an important character in the story, Gremio is bad. He has good defense yet his HP is low, which makes him not very good as a tank. The rest of his stats are horrible except for skill and luck, so he's in bottom tier. Next are Pan, Ronnie, Morgan, and IK. They are party members that fight with their fists, having high power stats but poor magic stats. Pan has the highest power, skill, defense, and HP among them. He has a permanently attached boar rune, which makes him unbalanced after using it. Meanwhile, Ronnie's hate rune doesn't have such a drawback, so she could use it every turn. IK has the rare double beat rune, which allows him to attack twice, but he has the lowest power and HP. Morgan has no special rune. None of his stats are better than Pan's either. IK and Morgan are in the mid tier, while Pan and Ronnie are in the top tier because they're simply better. Next are Cleo, Eileen, Meg, Sarah, and Tengar. Cleo's stats are pretty good except for luck. Eileen is the most physically fragile, but her magic is higher than Cleo's. Meg's stats are mediocre except for luck. She has the worst magic among them. Sarah's power and defense are on par with Cleo's, and her magic is slightly better than Meg's, but she's the slowest of the bunch. Tengar's stats are similar to Eileen's, but she's better at the physical side. I put Cleo, Eileen, and Tengar at the top tier, while Sarah is at the mid-tier. Meg is in the bottom tier because she doesn't excel at anything. Camille has high skill and speed stats. Her other stats are not bad, but also not amazing either. She belongs in the mid-tier. Next are the brothers Taiho and Yamku. Taiho has high power, skill, and HP. His defense is a bit weak, and he can only equip light armor. Yamku is very similar to Taiho, but he has higher speed and slightly better magic. However, his other stats are inferior to Taiho's. Taiho is a solid physical fighter, while Yamku is just average at best. So, Taiho is in the top tier, while Yamku is in the mid-tier. Next are the swordsmen, the one-handed sword wielders, to be precise. Chromimi and Gon have similar stats. However, Gon's HP is much lower. Overall, they're not special besides having to unite attacks. So, they're in the mid-tier. Hicks has high luck and also decent power, skill, and speed. Still, he's overshadowed by Sheena, Flick, Ellen, and Grenseal, who are just as good as Hicks in physical, but also good at magic. I put Hicks in the mid-tier, and Sheena, Flick, Ellen, and Grenseal in the top tier. As for Griffith, his only notable stat is power. Not to mention, he joins pretty late in the game. By the time he joins, you already recruited dozens of better characters. So, he's in the bottom tier. The archers are next: Kirkus, Sylvina, Stallion, Ruby, and Loreley. Kirkus has the best skill and equal power, defense, and magic. Sylvina is basically an inferior version of Kirkus. Stallion is one of the fastest characters in the game. Although his magic is better than power, he couldn't use magic runes due to his unremovable True Holy rune. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any effect during battle. Ruby is largely similar to Kirkus but has better magic. Loreley is the only one whose magic and speed are below average. Loreley doesn't have any unique abilities, except she could equip a shield. So, Kirkus and Ruby are in the top tier, Sylvina and Loreley are in the mid-tier, and Stallion is in the bottom tier. Valeria has good power, defense, and HP stats. Her Falcon rune lets her deal lots of damage. She is definitely in the top tier. Lepin has good power and skill stats, while the rest of his stats are average. He has to unite attacks, one with his wife and another one with his whole family. He's not good enough for top tier, so in the mid-tier he goes. Next are Kryn, Jopo, Sidonia, Quincy, Cage, and Fuma. Like other long-range characters, all of them have high skill stats. Krin is one of the fastest characters in the game, but the rest of his stats are terrible. Joppo has high luck and low power. The rest of his stats are slightly below average. His trick rune deals 1.5 damage, but with Joppo's weak power, it won't do big damage. Besides his skill and speed, Sidonia's stats are low. Quincy has the highest skill, which means he has a high crit chance. His other stats are also good except for magic. As for the ninjas, they have better HP than others. Cage has higher speed, skill, and magic but lower power, defense, and HP than Fuma. Quincy is in the top tier, while Cage, Fuma, and Sidonia are in the mid-tier. Lastly, Krin and Joppo are in the bottom tier. Kimberly has below average HP, power, and defense for a melee character, so she's easily outclassed by most of the other melee characters. She's in the bottom tier. Next are Humphrey and Kroots. Both of them are in the top tier. They have high HP, power, and defense. They could shrug off the enemy's physical attack if you equip them with good armor. And next are the blacksmiths, Moz, Mies, Mose, Moose, and Mace. All of them have similar stats, with some differences. Moz and Mies's stats are roughly equal. Mose has better HP and defense, and Moose has better skill. As the teacher of the other blacksmiths, Mace has superior stats compared to the other blacksmiths, so he's in the top tier. The rest are in the mid-tier. Kai has high power and HP. His Unite attack with Tur is the best Unite attack in the game. It could attack all enemies without any drawbacks. His Unite attack earns him a place in the top tier. Next are the magicians, Fukian, Luke, Crowley, Helion, and Lot. I also grouped Mina with them, because she has similar stats. All of them have high magic but abysmal HP and power. Fukian, Mina, and Lot's magic stats are on par with each other, while Helion's are slightly higher than theirs. Fukian has the rare Resurrection rune, and Helion joins with the Mother Earth rune, which, at the time you recruited her, was one of the strongest runes you could have. Meanwhile, Luke and Crowley have the best magic stats among all the playable characters. Luke is the fastest, but he has the weakest HP. Fukian, Luke, Crowley, and Helion are in the top tier, while Mina and Lot are in the mid-tier. Next, the Carpenters, Jen and Sansuk. By looking at their stats, it should be obvious which one is better. Jen has high HP and power, but his defense is somewhat lacking. Sansuk has weak power and HP for a melee character. His magic stat is also just as bad, making him one of the worst party members. Jen is in the mid-tier, and Sansuk is definitely in the bottom tier. Next are Liukin, K-Mandel, and Sergei. Despite being melee characters, they have poor HP and power, and yet, their magic is also below average. They're good for nothing, so all of them are in the bottom tier. And then Fu Su Lu and Pesmerga. Although they seem completely different, they actually have a lot of similarity. Both of them boast the highest HP and power in the game. They also have good defense, but the rest of their stats are terrible. Despite that, they are still very strong party members. So, both are in the top tier. Blackman has high defense and respectable power. Besides that, he doesn't have anything notable. He's in the mid-tier. Kirk's only good stat is power. The rest are below average. Like Blackman, there's nothing notable for Kirk. Another one in the mid-tier. The next ones are the chefs, Antonio and Lester. In terms of stats, Lester is almost superior in every way compared to Antonio. Even so, Lester's stats are not very impressive either. So, they're in the bottom tier. Long-ranged characters usually have lower power compared to melee characters, but not Clive. Clive has power that rivals melee characters. Combined with his high skill and speed, he's the best long-range attacker, which means he's top tier. Next are the four generals. Fittingly, as the greatest generals in the Empire, they have great stats. Qasim and Kwanda have high HP, power, and defense. The difference is Qasim is better at power, while Kwanda is better at defense. Sonya and Milik excel in magic, though they're no slouches in power as well. All of them deserve to be in the top tier. Futch has good stats all around, though none are really amazing. Milia has high power, defense, and HP, though her skill and speed are a bit low, but she's still a solid physical fighter, so she's in the top tier, and Futch is in the mid-tier. And next are the pirates, Angie, Kanak, and Leonardo. Actually, Leonardo is similar to Varkas and Kessler, but since he's part of a trio with Angie and Kanak, I decide to compare him with his companies instead. Angie and Leonardo have good power and HP, while Kanak has higher speed in exchange for lower power and HP. The three of them also have a rather weak defense, especially Angie. However, it's not a problem because they could be placed in the back row. I therefore ranked them all in the top tier. Next are Varkas and Kessler. These axe wielders have high power. Their defense is slightly below average, but it's not a problem since they're mid-range characters. Compared to Kessler, Varkas has better HP, power, and defense, but worse skill, speed, magic, and luck. They deserve a place in the top tier. Kasumi is unique because despite using a melee weapon, she's a long-ranged party member. Her Shrike rune deals double damage without any drawback. Her speed is very high, and she has good skill and power too. She's definitely in the top tier. And the final one is Warren. He, like Griffith, joins late in game, has no unique rune, and his stats aren't as good as other late game characters. So, I put him in the mid tier. And that's the tier list. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you like this video.